The story begins at the peak of Kim Luan, where a man is busy chopping wood and lamenting that once again he had to spend the day on this task. Suddenly, a system window appears in front of him, informing him that he has cut a total of 3.65 million pieces of wood over time. Surprised, he questions himself if it is really such a large amount. The system warmly congratulates him, granting him the title of Master Woodcutter. The scene then shifts to an explanation of his past. He belonged to the land and made his debut on a talent show, quickly rising to the top. However, due to his refusal to follow the agency's guidelines, he fell into obscurity and sank into depression. Eventually, he was reborn in Kingon Academy, becoming a professor in the Rune Seals department. He believed that with this new chance, the system would be able to show his true potential and live a different life. While continuing to chop wood, he reflects on how ironic it is that the system he hoped would be a powerful tool only asks him to perform this same task. Even though he has achieved the status of Master Woodcutter, he still has not reached the open light phase, which he mentions with some frustration. Meanwhile, a long-haired man appears flying and calls out to the protagonist, Bai washing. The man lands on the piles of wood, slightly disturbing them. He informs Bai that the director has summoned him to let him know that the examination at the Mountain Palace has already begun. Bai must go to the palace to select his disciples. The long-haired man thinks to himself that even if Bai washing attends, his cultivation level is not sufficient to attract disciples. Bai responds that he understands and authorizes the man to leave. The man departs, bidding farewell to Bai washing. With his axe over his shoulder, Bai reflects that it is unlikely he will receive any disciples due to his cultivation level. He decides to move forward, mentioning that it has been a long time since he ate barbecue, and plans to see if the dragon in the Gangu Abyss has gotten fatter. In the registration square, various people gather for the exam. An extra comments that many people are signing up again for the sword art department. The extra is conversing with the southern swordsman named Jemin, who expresses feeling disrespected. A third individual comments that Jemin has more than 500 disciples, which is something to be envied. Meanwhile, 3 men are talking among themselves and note that no students have appeared for the rune exam, including instructor Bai Washing, who is the protagonist of the story. One of the men notes that Bai Washing is a master still in the rotating light stage, making it somewhat embarrassing for him to attend. The third man expresses frustration, stating that it is irritating to see someone considered a failure occupying Kim Luan Peak, while others with superior status should be there. At that moment, Jemin exclaims that Grandmaster Bai has truly exceeded all expectations by not receiving a single disciple in a decade, yet still not attending. He proceeds to ask the director to dismiss Bai from his position as a professor and instruct him to leave Kim Luan to improve the school's reputation. The director responds by reminding everyone that Brother Bai sacrificed all his cultivation and spent 10 years in the rotating light phase to protect the academy. This makes the man who was speaking and another nearby individual thoughtful, reflecting on Bai Washing's past and circumstances. Jamin speaks again, reminding everyone of Master Bai's good deeds for the academy, but they realized that his current ability was not good enough to continue as a master. A bearded man suggested that they simply remove him from the position of master and keep him residing at Kim Luan Peak. The director seemed thoughtful, appearing to consider the idea. Another man agreed, saying that Brother Ian was right. As they were discussing, they heard a voice thanking them for being so considerate. It was Bai, who had arrived with a branch in his mouth and holding a type of snake in his hand. He expressed his gratitude and said he was moved. At this moment, Jemin approached him with a sarcastic smile and commented that Bai seemed to be in a good mood. He mockingly asked if it would not be humiliating to get hurt just to catch a snake. In the crowd, a woman starts reflecting on the situation. She notices that although Bai is considered weak, he has a good sense of humor. She also questions the snake, thinking it seems common and wondering what kind of cultivation it might have. Suddenly, the woman notices something strange and a drop of sweat runs down her face. She seems to see an immense aura radiating from the snake. Meanwhile, Jemin offers a pill to Master Bai, considering that he is injured. He explains that it is a 5-element cultivation pill and asks Bai to accept it. However, he makes a condition: he will only give the pill if Bai manages to recruit a disciple that day. Otherwise, he will have to give up. Bai, demonstrating his laziness, he refuses the offer and says he will not participate in this game. He states that he will not take any disciples that year and that he is about to leave. Bai turns to leave, but a man shouts, preventing him from leaving. Jemin resumes speaking with the director, arguing that Bai has become tired and lazy and that his cultivation level is low. He tells Bai, who seems completely indifferent to the situation and asks for his resignation. Other men in the crowd agree, commenting that the young man is right and that Bai is no longer fit to be a teacher. The director looks at Bai doubtfully and asks what his opinion is on all this. Bai responds that he doesn't think it's a bad idea to be fired, as this way he won't have to do anything. He suggests that as long as he can stay on king and peak, he doesn't care what happens. Meanwhile, a bystander in the scene thinks to himself that as soon as Bai loses his position, king and peak will be his. Another character wonders how someone so weak managed to stay in such a sacred place. Faced with all this, the director decides he will make an important announcement. The director announces that Bai, the instructor of the Rune Seals department, hasn't had a disciple in the last 10 years due to his low skill level. Therefore, he is no longer fit to be a teacher at the academy from that day on. Before he could finish, someone interrupts him, causing two bystanders to look to see who it is. A girl then appears, interrupting the situation. She expresses her desire to learn from Master Bai, specifically the art of rune seals. Immediately, several negative comments arise, saying that Bai is weaker than a chicken and that this would be a waste of resources. People wonder what is happening and some question the girl about her decision. A young man challenges her, asking if she understood what everyone is saying, that Bai doesn't have the ability to teach her anything, and that if she accepts, she will only be a servant. At this moment, Jaemin looks in the direction of the girl, thinking she has a lot of talent and excellent spiritual roots. He suggests that if she is willing to enter the sword art department, he will give her the highest position there. The girl quickly clings to Bai's arm, determined in her decision. However, Bai responds that she is being hasty and refuses. Jaemin gets furious, with veins bulging in his face. He wonders how someone could leave the sword art department to learn rune seals from someone he considers low level. He suggests that there must be something else going on in this situation. Meanwhile, the girl continues doing her best to convince Master Bai to accept her as his disciple. While watching this scene, Jaemin begins to suspect that the girl is someone Bai wants by his side to obtain the highest position in the sword art department. He thinks that when that moment comes, the sword art department will indeed become an extension of Bai's domain, allowing him to do whatever he wants. Jaemin points directly at Bai and declares that he is clever, but Jaemin is not stupid. Then, he addresses the director, stating that since the girl doesn't want to stay in his department, he won't force her. He suggests letting her become Bai's disciple. Meanwhile, Bai is there lamenting the situation with the girl still clinging to his arm. Bai finally asks the girl why she wants him to be her master. He questions her about how she can see beyond his weakness, as he is only at the rotating light stage of cultivation. The girl thinks with her head down in her thoughts. She reveals that she is the reincarnation of an immortal, and that in her previous life she reincarnated with her memories. Because she did not succeed, she intended to choose the sword art department, confident in her talent and appearance, which would allow her to steal cultivation resources without problems. However, she did not expect that at the last moment she would find a true master. Meanwhile, Bai watches with sweat running down his face. The girl continues thinking, considering her vision as an immortal. She firmly believes that the snake is about to become a dragon. She assesses the human cultivator's level and concludes that the snake is about to reach the Mahana stage, being a supreme master at that level. She also recalls her previous life as an immortal and admits that she wouldn't have been able to defeat this snake that is about to become a dragon, even in her immortal form. And so the girl ponders the contrast between her reincarnation as an immortal and Bai's level, which is still at the rotating light stage. She questions how someone like Bai, who is apparently at a lower cultivation level, could defeat such a powerful threat as the snake that is about to become a dragon. Meanwhile, the director is stroking his beard as he thinks. Then, the director says that since Jaemin does not object, he will make the announcement. Bai asks to wait, as he still has something to say. However, the director does not pay attention and announces that the disciple has been officially transferred from the sword art department to the rune seals department. Bai is upset and the director asks if Bai's older brother is not really amazing. The director, responding abruptly, ends the recruitment meeting and everyone starts to leave. As they exit, Jean grabs Bai by the arm, expressing his satisfaction at finding a good disciple and predicting that Bai's department will be very successful in the academy exam in 3 months. Bai asks if Jean has lost his mind while walking away, then turning back to Bai and the girl. He asks her what her name is, and she replies that her name is Suli. Bai thinks to himself that if he had known, he might not have gone to the exam since it caused problems and he was tired. He tells her that Suli is a beautiful name, and she thanks him as they walk towards a portal. He has accepted the situation and decides to guide her as her master, but her cultivation success depends on her. When they reach the top, the girl is surprised by the pile of firewood. Meanwhile, she wonders why, despite being so strong, Bai was intimidated. She thinks Bai is very powerful and comments that he could easily defeat the King Hong Academy. She questions why he tolerates the insults. Bai calls the girl and explains a few things to her. He says, first, that in his department, they don't plan lessons but focus on self-awareness. Second, she doesn't need permission to leave or do anything. Third, he mentions that resources are limited due to a lack of students, but reassures her by saying that as her teacher, he will ensure she lacks nothing. Regarding the fourth point, he hasn't decided yet and asks if she wants to know more. She says no, so he tells her he has prepared 2 books for her and hands them over. He explains that the first book is like a textbook covering all the runic seals with step-by-step problems organized by difficulty. The second book contains practical exercises, each marked with a difficulty level. He advises her to study calmly and not rush, promising to check her progress occasionally to encourage dedication. Bowing her head, she says she will remember everything he told her. Then he points to the disciples' quarters, explaining that they are all empty and she can choose anyone. He also suggests that if she needs anything, she can look for the disciples of the Internal Affairs Department to resolve the issue. While he speaks, she chooses a room and passes by some with cracks, thinking it's too late to change departments. She decides that no matter the state of the rooms, she just needs to endure it, even if it's difficult. Meanwhile, Bai is preparing snake meat, sitting on the ground with a barbecue and charcoal in front of him. He cuts the snake into pieces with his hands and puts it on the skewer of the grill. Using fire magic from his finger, he lights the charcoal. The aroma of the barbecue enters Suli's room as she makes her bed. She notices the smell and comments that it smells good. But when she opens the window, she coughs due to the dust. Looking out the window, she sees her master sitting in front of the barbecue and wonders if he is cooking a dragon. She is surprised and remembers that dragons are immortal beings and, if obtained, should be offered to the patriarch. Bai continues eating the meat while the girl drools. She approaches her master timidly from behind, admitting she is a little hungry. He responds dryly, "No," making her tremble. Frustrated, she thinks she never imagined that a dignified immortal like her would be denied meat. If the Taoists of her past life knew this, they would laugh at her. She looks at her master with puppy dog eyes, but he reaffirms that no means no. She walks away muttering that he is very mean. Then he calls her back. She looks at him with watery eyes, asking if she can eat. He stabs a piece of meat on the skewer and offers it to her. She enthusiastically tastes the meat, her cheeks blushing as tears of happiness appear in her eyes. The girl says she never imagined that piece of meat contained enough energy for half a year of cultivation. With the energy she has now, she can't handle the dragon's energy. If she ate the meat directly, she would definitely explode. While her master sits eating, she bows her head and thanks him for his generosity. He tells her that 1 lick a day is enough and that she shouldn't be greedy. She agrees. When night falls, the scene shifts to 2 men with suspicious expressions, one with a sword on his back and a rope in his hand. They were near a portal. Someone mentioned that the horse raised by Bai had a lot of spiritual energy, and the last time they tried to steal it, they were beaten up by the horse itself. These 2 men were now jumping over a wall. The man with the rope jumped last and asked the other if just the 2 of them would be enough. The other told him not to worry because he had already prepared everything this time. He showed a vial and explained that it was the 1,000 days drunkenness developed by the Great Brother. It was something to make 5th grade monsters or lower pass out just by smelling it. While the 2 were crouching on the wall, one of them noticed someone and said that someone was there. They spotted Master Bai, who seemed... The master was feeding the horse, threw the food, and said he remembered when he got it. It was skinny and small, and now it had a majestic appearance. The horse sniffed his cheek, and the master told him to be careful and that he was going to sleep. He left the horse. Meanwhile, 2 men were preparing to steal the horse. They approached and said that it should return to the Department of Beast Tamers. Meanwhile, Suo was studying in her room. She heard something and closed the book immediately. She wondered who was bold enough to be there. She opened the door to check outside and said she was going to teach them a lesson. The 2 were still there with the horse, with a strange and sarcastic smile. One of the men poured something into the horse's food. The 2 men began acting strange, and it soon became clear that they had poured the entire bottle. They kept urging the horse to eat a little more, but the horse didn't seem to care. The girl appeared behind the 2 men and asked who they were, demanding their names. One of them asked the other why there was another person there. The other replied that she was probably the idiot who refused a better place in the sword department to stay with the tamers. The man said he would fight the girl again, and if he couldn't win, the other would help. The other man said he could win. He pointed 2 fingers at the girl as if about to launch an attack, ran towards her, and she also ran towards him. Before he could attack, the girl hit his ribs, sending him flying with the impact. She then exclaimed that the fire was consuming his spiritual energy. The girl stood with one leg raised and a sort of blue aura around her. The other man, shouting for his brother, also prepared to fight, moving towards the girl and putting his hand on the sword's hilt. While all this was happening, Master B was asleep. He heard the noises, got up, and looked out the window. Seeing his disciple with the two boys, he was speechless, not understanding what was happening. He closed the window and went back to sleep. He turned his back and snapped his fingers, creating a magical shield around the peak, and continued facing the men. She told them it seemed like the master had no intention of letting them leave. The two were distressed. The scene cuts to someone angrily banging on a table. It was the big brother from the monster domestication department. The two men stood before him with defeated expressions. They said they were beaten by Bai's disciple, and that she was very strong. The other man told them not to worry, and that once their wounds healed, they would bring Bai back. Then the man threw 3 restoration potions and 2 energy nutritive potions to each of them. They thanked him, and he told them to heal up as he would personally deal with the problem later. He then gathered everyone in the department to go to the peak, stating he would deliver justice. But as they were leaving, another man approached and asked them to wait. This man said that, after all, Bai was an instructor, and this time it was their fault. Going there would only bring more trouble. The leader asked if they should let it go since the horse belonged to their department, and Bai took it. The man said that was not what he meant, and explained with a malicious smile that Bai's disciple was the one who broke the rules by beating those two. He whispered in the leader's ear that they only needed to use morals to their advantage. If they said they were beaten by Bai's members, Bai couldn't do anything. They would demand the horse back, and Bai would have to discipline his disciple, so he couldn't refuse. The leader agreed to the plan, and someone called them to go to the law enforcement hall. At dawn, someone opened the door. An Arabi, stretching with his mouth open, was greeted by Suli. She had what appeared to be dark circles and a congested nose. While he was outside chopping wood, he asked the girl how the books were the day before. The girl was startled, stuttered, and started sweating, thinking she had read all night but only managed half a page due to lacking spiritual energy. Waiting for her response, he said it didn't matter the result and that he wouldn't do anything to her. The frightened girl said she understood, with a suspicious look and sweat running down her face, and she replied that she was going to inform him. She again got lost in her thoughts, thinking that the cultivation book was incredible, but she still couldn't understand it. So she shouted to the master, saying she only read half a page. While he was chopping wood, he seemed surprised and asked what she said, shouting back if she had only read half a page in one night. The girl, head down, appeared thoughtful. He asked again, "You only read half a page in one night?" The frightened girl said she was sorry for disappointing him. He smiled and said she misunderstood him, that he wasn't disappointed but surprised. He said he thought she could only read a few letters and was surprised she read so much. He threw something to the girl and said that even though the knowledge of runes was essential, she shouldn't stress. He explained that with that token, she could go to the library to read books and choose other exercises. When the token leveled up, she could access more advanced levels in the library, where she would find better techniques and secrets. Holding the token to her chest, she asked how she could level it up. He explained that it required 2 things: completing academy missions and participating in disciple trials. Smiling, she thanked him and said she understood. Comparing the token with her master's book, she thought that with the books, she already had material to study. Throughout her life, she hadn't needed to learn anything more. Her master seemed to have seen something. The girl then asked what was wrong. She heard a voice saying, "Suli, disciple of King Luan Peak, descend quickly and accept your punishment." The girl, apparently distressed, told her master that it might be the 2 who were there the night before. Bai put his axe on his shoulder and seemed to leave ashamed. She said she hit them a bit hard and that they might be in trouble. He replied that it was fine and that he was with her and that she should only worry about studying. Smiling, he called her to see what was happening, and she agreed. On the other side of the portal, there were many people, practically an army, waiting for them. 6 people flew above those on the ground, and suddenly the shadows of the 2 appeared in the portal as everyone watched. Master Bai and Suli emerged from the portal, and we saw that it was Song Lang from the Hall of Laws who seemed to be at the fusion stage. They had a communication, and informed that they had received a complaint that Suli ignored the Academy's rules and maliciously injured her fellow disciples. They asked Bai to respect the rules and hand over the girl. Meanwhile, the 2 seemed to be surrounded by many people. The girl seemed scared, but Bai looked excited, saying it was a show. They walked through the corridor of people. Another man from the Hall of Laws, emanating a green aura whose name was Zen, and also at the fusion stage, had evidence and invited the girl to go with them. Then Bai planted his axe in the ground and said not to be hasty. He looked at the man with a penetrating gaze and asked about the two disciples who entered the peak in the middle of the night causing trouble. He asked what would happen to them. Meanwhile, the two men from the Hall of Laws looked suspiciously at the leader of the domestication department. The leader gritted his teeth, sweating, and shamelessly said that they entered by accident and had already been punished. Bai, with a sarcastic smile, asked, "Accidentally?" The leader said that his disciple injured the two accidentally, and he would punish her accordingly. Bai and Suli turned their backs and were leaving. Then the leader of the Beast Hall ordered them to stop. He said that the Hall of Laws determined that Suli was guilty, and that if he didn't hand her over, things wouldn't end well. Bai looked at the man with a threatening look, asking if he wanted to teach him how to do things. The leader started to panic, yelling for the two from the Hall of Laws to quickly take Suli. Bai just thought, this son of a fruit. Suli next to him seemed outraged by the situation. The two from the Hall of Laws landed, breaking the ground in front of Bai, seemingly getting into attack position. One of them said that those who oppose the Hall of Laws never end well, and that Bai should know this. Bai responded sarcastically, saying that they were just babies who thought they could represent the Hall of Laws. The guy got irritated, asking how he dared to humiliate the Hall of Laws, and said that now they would take the two to be punished. Bai was already ready with his axe. The two men from the hall then charged at Bai and Suli, drawing their swords from their sheaths. The leader, with a malicious smile, thought if Bai still thought he was the genius from 10 years ago. The two men continued towards them, but they remained in the same place without moving. The leader thought sarcastically, a piece of trash at the light rotation stage really wants to face the Hall of Laws. He doesn't care about life, Bai told Suli, tapping her on the shoulder, to use this fight to prove what she had learned and not to disappoint him. She replied that it was okay. Then the guys reached her, shouting, "Die!" She smiled and asked if that was all. She easily dodged the attack of the two men, who continued attacking while she dodged. They clashed their swords on the ground, thinking they had hit her, but she was no longer there. Suli wondered why her master wanted to test her while fighting. She reflected to herself that these guys were so weak that her master wouldn't need to waste time with them. The battle continued, and the girl just dodged, thinking with a smile of joy that as long as she was with her master, her progress would be faster than she imagined. One of the men noticed something on Suli's fingers and wondered what she was doing. Drawing runes. He was surprised to see that even a rune seal master needed to draw the seal before using it and questioned why she was doing this in the middle of the battle. Irritated, he accused her of underestimating him, calling his companion to attack together again. They attacked fiercely, one by one. One of the attacks seems to hit the girl's foot, probably to prevent her from finishing the rune. Sue realizes that these men are not allowing her to complete the rune. While one attacks from above and the other from below, she quickly works on her rune. One of the men launches an attack from above, charged with a green dragon-shaped aura, and challenges her to go to hell. At the last moment, she completes her rune, concentrating some kind of magic on her fingers. Blue rays envelop her body, and an aura appears around her feet. She declares that they are just that, and launches her attack against the green dragon. At the same time, the other man attacks from below. The two attacks collide, causing a huge explosion, and releasing a gust of wind so strong that the men hold on to their swords to avoid being thrown away. One of them questions whether the attack worked, but when the dust settles, they see Sue still standing with a charged attack and a deadly look in her eyes. Lightning seems to come out of her eyes as she announces that now things will get crazy, and launches her attack towards the men who remain motionless, terrified by the girl's power. Meanwhile, Bai just watches the scene. Bai thinks to himself that the girl's attribute is lightning, while dragon flesh has a wood attribute that cannot be supplied to her for now. He needs to go to the abyss again in search of something with a lightning attribute for the girl. Meanwhile, Sue states that she is done, and we see the two men practically charred on the ground. A member of the lay hall is on the ground, injured, screaming and asking for his younger brother, doing nothing. He cries out, "We came here for you." The younger brother, sweating, responds angrily, "That idiot Sang, why does he need to call me now? You two couldn't defeat her, do you think I can do it?" Meanwhile, Sue draws a rune and commands it to attack. The rune hits the younger brother, who falls to his knees, asking why the woman attacked him with a rune. Sue laments to herself, thinking that she was aiming at Sang Lang but missed. Master Bai intervenes and orders Sue to withdraw. She agrees and steps back. Sitting on the ground, injured, Sang tells Bai that this is a grave provocation, accusing him of covering up the crime of his disciple and against the weakened Lei Hall. He stands up and warns Bai that the Lei Hall will not let him escape and that he will regret this. Bai, scratching his ear, responds sarcastically that those who should regret are them. Lang, shocked, asks what Bai is going to do. With a threatening look, Bai launches a pressure attack on Sang and orders him to kneel. Feeling the pressure, Sang places his hand on his chest. Everyone around feels the pressure and cannot stand up while lightning strikes the mountain. One of the men on the ground questions how someone from the revolving light stage can have such heavy spiritual energy. Bai, radiating a yellow aura, reminds them that they are at the peak of Qinglan. When a man asks if Bai has recovered, another man responds that the academy instructors can borrow spiritual energy from Linglan. One of the men holds a shining touch, emitting green light, and asks about Elder Kun. Suddenly, he starts spitting blood, and the two men fly away and escape. Bai allows them to escape for now. The man Su attacked is kneeling, and Bai says he must remain kneeling until Elder Il comes to speak with him personally. Master Bai leaves, leaving the man kneeling there. The scene shifts to a different location, and someone says, "I heard you waited for me for a long time. Why?" Song Lang enters the hall and explains the situation to Vice Instructor Shen. The Vice Instructor questions Song Lang if Shenseng is still kneeling at the peak of Qinglan, and Lang confirms yes. The Vice Instructor strokes his beard and communicates that they can both return to Lei Hall, and he will handle the situation himself. The two men salute the Vice Director and leave the room. Lang leaves with a malicious smile, thinking that Bai will not be able to compete in the open exit stage, even with the support of Qinglan Peak. The Vice Director talks to a man named Enro and instructs him to accompany him to Qinglan Peak the next night to bring back his brother. Enro agrees to the task. Hours pass, the day dawns, and Master Bai is eating while pondering that no member of the Monster Domination Department has appeared yet. He leaves and sees Su practicing. He praises her upon noticing her silent movement. When Su greets him, Bai hands her something and says he has to leave, but asks her to take care of the place if anyone from the Monster Domination Department shows up. Su assures him that she will not let others cause trouble. Bai leaves, telling her to watch the place and that he will return the next day. Su wishes him a good trip. The scene changes, and an explanation about the Kangoo Abyss and its areas is shown, where the deeper it is, the stronger the demon realm. Bai flies over some monsters and lands on a rock. He thinks that he cannot use materials from an ancient demon with the current kingdom of Liwi. He observes the forest while lightning strikes it and decides to look for a demon king with a lightning attribute nearby. He sees a female disciple from the academy alone and is surprised. An attack of purple flames approaches the girl from behind. Bai watches as the attack explodes upon hitting the girl. Bai is surprised and thinks that troublesome things always happen. He makes a gesture with his fingers, and a blue aura envelops his body. The girl, lying on the ground with her magical shield broken, hears someone say she has nothing left. Two men approach the girl lying on the ground. One of them holds a kind of purple power in his hand and tells her not to run, as she could gain a lot by playing with him. The girl emphatically responds that it would only happen in his dreams. The man, with a malicious look, reveals that she is the mascot of the female department of the 4 arts of the female academy, and pressures her to provide good service so that he might consider letting her go. Outside, the girl appears distressed, tears streaming down her face. She prepares to react, placing her hand on her forehead and performing some kind of spell. She declares her determination not to let them touch her, even if it means her death. The man then attacks, a purple aura enveloping his hand as he grabs the girl's head. While holding her head, the girl realizes that her spiritual power has been sealed, which worries her even more. The man, with a mocking tone, comments on the smoothness of her skin. The girl, still on the ground, watches the man as he continues his movements, worried about what he might do next. She has a vision of her partner and wonders if she is destined to be defiled by that evil individual. At this moment, Master Bai appears using some kind of invisibility spell and instructs the girl to attack a specific point on the man. Surprised by the possibility of moving again, she acts according to the instructions. Her attack seems to immobilize the man, who wonders why he can't move. She then unleashes a powerful yellow lightning that throws the man away, causing his death. The girl is surprised by the intensity of her own power. The second man, desperate, runs toward his pierced colleague, screaming in despair. Master Bai observes the scene from a rock, and the girl expresses gratitude for the help received. However, Bai only reflects on her stance and that of the other students from the senior sister's female department, considering them fools. The man who approached the chief is enveloped in a blue aura and threatens the girl, promising to make her pay. The man uses his spiritual power to launch a fierce attack, making the situation tense with the attack approaching her. At this moment, Master Bai intervenes, using his abilities to bind the man with spiritual chains. Bai orders the girl to kill him. The man, now immobilized by the yellow aura, asks Master Bai if killing him would provide information about the whereabouts of her sister. The man resists, mocking her efforts, saying he was not the one who took her sister. Rejecting his statements, he challenges her to kill him if she dares, mentioning the influence of the formless sect. The girl is surprised to realize that the man is related to the formless sect. They see someone approaching, possibly her friend. Master Bai reveals himself and questions why the formless sect sent the man. The chained man also questions Bai's presence. As Bai approaches, deactivating his invisibility, the man belittles his abilities. The girl, surprised, realizes that the Bai she considered useless is the one who helped her. Bai positions himself in front of the chained man and declares that he has no interest in playing the interrogation game with him. He demands that the man hurry and tell what he knows. The man, in turn, refuses to say anything. In response, Bai says it's fine but orders the man to die, resulting in an explosion. The girl, enraged, addresses Elder Bai, asking how she will find her older sister now that he is dead. Bai then makes gestures in the air while responding that he understands her impatience and knows how to find her. Using his ability, Bai creates an aura representation of the man's location. He instructs the girl to follow it and wishes her luck in finding her sister. She places the responsibility of finding her sister in the hands of a bird. The bird reaches a cave where her friend is imprisoned, suffering from injuries. She thinks that she never imagined that after escaping a disastrous situation, she would end up there with her power. She feels that this place could be her tomb while extending her hand and questioning the safety of a rune at that moment coming from above. She calls out for her companions, and Yunhu, with a smile, confirms that the elder sister is inside the cave. Bai agrees, but informs that she is gravely injured. Yunhu decides to go down to rescue her, but Bai advises not to rush and begins to create a rune. The girl asks if Bai is creating a flying talisman. Bai launches the talisman into the cave where the other girl is trapped. The injured girl wonders if those shapes are bubbles. The bubbles surround the girl, and she questions where she is being taken. The bubbles lift and guide her out of the cave. Yunruo cries out in joy upon seeing her elder sister, and the two embrace. The girl assures that she is fine. In gratitude, the injured girl expresses her thanks to Bai for saving her. Bai retrieves something from herself, offering it to the girl, suggesting she heal her wounds first. At this moment, the image of Gemini, the individual who gave Bai the pill, appears like a fool. The girl is surprised and questions if it is a 5-element pill for cultivation. Bai responds by questioning if she should refuse such help. After all, the pill is more valuable than her own life, and someone gave it for free. The girl sheepishly agrees, thanks, and consumes the pill, regenerating her strength. She realizes her foot wounds healed instantly. Bai expresses that he does not expect them to repay the favor and indicates that with their current strength, they should not remain there. The healed girl states that she will remember Bai's kindness and promises to repay it one day. Bai asks why they entered the abyss, leaving them speechless. The scene shifts to Suli, who was studying. She thinks she finished reading a page and realizes she is about to enter the next stage of her study. She considers cultivating immediately while going to sleep. She suspects that someone might be causing problems while the master is away and leaves with a paper in hand. Outside, the wind is strong, and two silhouettes appear among the wind gusts and blue auras. One of them refers to Bai Lu Shen and the fact that her disciple broke the academy's rules and challenged the Hall of Law Enforcement. An old man with a threatening look introduces himself as Shen Kun, the vice president, and orders them to face their punishment. The scene returns to Bai and the two girls. Bai questions if they have such a strong will to die by going to a place where the Demon King resides. Yunru, with a sad look, takes the blame, mentioning she was looking for materials to repair the master's instrument and acted impulsively. Bai reflects, feeling something is wrong and the situation is very strange. The elder sister explains that she was chasing a level 9 silk beast. According to her judgment, members of the formless border sect were also after it. Bai responds by questioning why they would be doing that. After all, it is only a level 9 demon. He wonders if she might have been mistaken. Could it be that the ice silk beast is not a great demon but a spiritual demon, or perhaps even the demon king with a cultivated human form? Yunru, excited and smiling, asks Bai if he intends to capture the silk beast. Bai responds affirmatively, saying that the ice silk beast is an extremely rare demonic beast with water and electricity attributes. He explains that his disciple will transcend and needs electric material, making the silk beast a great option. He invites them to leave, mentioning the need to return before dawn. The two girls converse a bit farther away, and Yunro comments to the other about how Elder Bai treats the disciples well, expressing envy. The other girl retorts, stating that her master also treats everyone very well. Hours later, the scene returns to the peak where a voice calls for Bailu Washin. Two men float outside while Suoe opens the door. She exits and apologizes, informing that the master is not present at the moment. The leader, with a mocking look, asks her to kneel. Suoe questions why she should kneel, as she did nothing wrong. The leader mentions that upon meeting the elders, she must kneel and criticizes Bailu Washin, referring to him as trash. The girl interrupts the leader, apologizing for not knowing this rule and defending the master, asking for respect. The leader reacts by emitting a threatening aura and launches an attack against the girl, ordering her to kneel. The girl remains in place, draws something in the air, and awaits the attack. She emanates a blue aura that surrounds her when the attack hits, despite blood trickling from her mouth and eyes. She refuses to kneel, claiming she did nothing wrong. The leader becomes furious and launches another attack, provoking her to keep talking. He tries to force her to kneel with a series of blows and commands, but she stands her ground, staring firmly at the enraged leader. He thinks the girl burned her own spiritual realm to avoid kneeling. Recognizing the seriousness of her stance, he fears the department's reputation will be harmed if this is known. He decides the disciple must die, but she remains undisturbed. He points to his disciple Inhai and orders him to kill her. Inhai expresses concern, asking if it's all right to do this. Shen, the leader, reaffirms his order and threatens punishment for disobedience. Inhai states that, in his opinion, it doesn't warrant death and suggests leniency if she admits her mistakes. Another disciple comments on the surprise of having a master producing such a humane disciple. Inhai approaches her. At that moment, she reflects on saying what she wanted to say and internally promises to make him regret it if she survives. Inhai tries to persuade her, mentioning that his master cares about the reputation and that if she kneels and admits guilt, nothing severe will happen. She refuses, asserting she has no intention of talking and that if his master wants to kill her, he can proceed. She reaffirms that she will never beg for forgiveness. Inhai prepares to attack, but Suoe, with a charged attack ready hidden behind her back, internally laments that the one who should be apologizing is him, and that this skill should be used against Inhai's master. As Inhai is about to launch his attack, a horse arrives and headbutts him away. Suoe is surprised and exclaims, "Xiao!" Shen, with a sarcastic smile, thinks he now understands why Zhang Gensen is obsessed with it and realizes it's a spiritual demon. The horse emanates a purple aura as it rears up on two legs. Suoe, stunned, recognizes the horse as Xiao. The horse seems furious, stomping its hooves on the ground. Shen creates a lasso of aura and yells that the horse wouldn't have come if it wasn't for Suoe's interest. Shen attacks Suoe with aura, binding her and grabbing her neck. The horse finally decided to attack the man to end it all. Imbued with determination, it was ready to finish off this beast that was tired of testing him forever. The fire of determination burned in its eyes, and it intended to end this battle once and for all. Unfortunately, at that moment, the magical ball inside the horse broke. Lilu observed all this the entire time, and of course, it was painful for her to see what was happening. She simply caught the moment when the horse landed after the man's attack. In fact, the beast was practically dead, barely breathing and slowly reacting to its surroundings. Lilu believed that hope was not yet lost, and that this body was just the beginning of the cultivation process. She only had one chance to deliver the decisive blow. The girl said it was better for the man to kill her here and now, because if she survived, she would definitely make him answer for what he did. The master said that she would still take advantage of his desire. Lilu realized that it was at that moment when the proper distance had been created to strike. At this distance, the moon's winged wheel would directly hit the man. She successfully hits him with her attack. However, he brought a treasure that could heal even the most severe wound of all time. Thus, he survives that fatal blow without even a single scar. What the heck, that's cheating. Full restoration at its finest. Casting that attack consumes all the spiritual energy of Sulius, so she starts feeling very weak. After realizing how dangerous Suliyue is, he decides to end her life to no longer pose a threat to him. Another coward alert from the beast. The wounded horse tries to reach Suoe to help, but she orders it to flee. The old man looks at Suoe with a malicious look, planning to kill her and capture the horse to tame it. Suoe, weak, remembers a talisman her master gave her with instructions to use it if anyone caused trouble. She places the talisman on the old man's arm. The old man mockingly asks what the paper will do. A blue light begins to consume the old man's arm, and he is thrown away. A figure of a blue bird appears. As the bird is heading towards the old man, he starts to speak, but is interrupted by the bird's attack. The attack is so strong that the old man is torn apart and lies on the ground in disbelief. Inhai checks the old man's condition, who leans on him. The old man suggests they retreat as his injuries are severe, but he refuses. Enraged by the protection treasure ruined by the girl, he demands his 5 elements pills, and upon consuming them, regains his strength, emanating a formidable aura. Now revitalized, the old man decides he cannot let the girl who ruined his treasure go unpunished. He furiously charges towards Suoe, shouting that he will kill her. However, as he approaches, he seems to stop attacking, questioning why he cannot strike Suoe, who is surprised. At this moment, Master Bai appears on the scene with his clothes torn, emanating a great yellow aura. Suoe recognizes him as her master and notices a shadow holding the old man's arm, preventing his attack. Master Bai begins to heal Suoe while confronting the old man, reprimanding him for abusing his disciple in his absence. Bai's clone holds the old man by the neck, while Master Bai angrily scolds him, forcing the old man to admit his immorality and inappropriate conduct as the vice instructor of the beast taming department. Bai's clone lifts the old man by the neck and presses him against the ground, humiliating the weakened and injured elder. The old man wonders why he, one of the strongest in the kingdom of the open exit and among the academy's instructors, cannot defeat a mere trash from the rotating light kingdom. As he ponders this, Bai's clone continues to attack him violently with powerful blows that cause bleeding. Meanwhile, Inhai watches in horror, begging Master Bai to stop beating the old man. Desperate, Bai unleashes an ability called Golden Bell Decree, trapping Enro in a yellow aura bell while the old man continues to be attacked. Surprised by Bai's actions, the old man questions why he is being healed while being beaten. Bai's clone grabs the old man by the head as Hinai witnesses the scene in shock. The clone suggests that Enro and Shen thank Ligan, as without him, they would both be dead. The clone throws the unconscious old man into Inra's arms, instructing them to leave King Glan Peak. The still weak old man asks for a 5 elements pill, which Yihai promptly gives him. He begins to heal completely, and soon realizes that the previous attack succeeded because he was ambushed. He demands his spatial ring, apparently to regain his strength. While Master Bai is busy healing, Su apologizes for failing to protect the Inlu Peak properly. Bai reassures her, explaining that the next important step to repair her heart meridian will begin, and it will be painful. Shen interrupts, drawing Inhai's attention. He undergoes a transformation, appearing in new clothes with a threatening appearance. Shen boasts about his complete form and introduces Horned Eagle, an 8th class demonic beast, as his strongest guardian beast. The Horned Eagle approaches Bai but abruptly stops, noting the blue eyes in Bai's pouch that emit lightning. Shen is furious at the beast's retreat and calls it back. Meanwhile, the 2 girls saved by Bai appear, and he instructs them to take care of Suli. Bai confronts Shen, revealing that he had tried to avoid leaving King Glan Peak for years to prevent conflicts. He accuses Shen of trying to take over the peak, and even attacking his disciple. Shen sees something horrifying and bloody as Bai holds a red talisman emanating black lightning. Shen is horrified, recognizing the Blood Rapture talisman. Shen tries to flee, but Bai's clone catches up to him and attacks, making him fall. Shen tries to argue that they are all academy instructors and warns Bai that he will suffer divine retribution for using the talisman on him. Bai unleashes the Blood Rapture talisman attack, declaring himself Shen's divine retribution. The talisman advances toward Shen, who looks terrified and begs for it not to approach. The scene then shifts to an explanation of how Master Bai arrived at the location. While Su was using the talisman, Bai was busy capturing monsters and was alerted by the talisman, which led him to return quickly to the peak, explaining his torn clothes. Back to the current scene, a soundproof talisman is activated. Upon realizing that his master has been completely consumed by the talisman and died, the talisman consumes Shen's entire body, leaving only his clothes. One of the women saved by Bai comments on how terrible the Blood Rupture talisman is. Inhai, crying, kneels before Bai and says, "Master." Bai expresses that he did not want to do this, but Shen provoked this reaction with his actions. Bai cuts Inhai's hair in a symbolic gesture. Master Bai tells Inhai that he is not in favor of killing without reason, and advises Inhai to learn from this experience, suggesting that in the future he find a master who is more humane. Bai turns and leaves, instructing Inhai to keep the situation a secret, and not to forget to take his older brother, who is kneeling at the door. Inhai thanks Bai, calling him martial uncle, and promises to understand. As Bai and Suo talk at a distance, Ru tells his sister for both to stay out of their way. The two girls bid farewell to Bai and depart. Master Bai tells them that they are more than welcome there. Suo watches the girls and wonders if they really won't return frequently. Bai gestures with his hands indicating that he will change clothes. After everyone leaves, only Bai, Suo, and the horse remain. At this moment, he realizes that someone is watching them and casts a threatening glance upwards. A strange figure is seen in the sky, disappearing under the intimidating gaze of Master Bai. Suo asks Bai if there is something in the sky, and he responds that there is not, but suspects that someone is spying. A cracked crystal ball appears with Bai's face in it. Then we see an old man, Uncle Dean, speaking angrily about Bai using such an insane method to kill his nephew. The old man is in a room and mentions that because he loves his disciple so much, this person will know what to do in this year's exam. The man with him bows and responds that the Hall of Law has made all the adjustments. This man is Tuv, the elder of the Hall of Law. Tuv affirms that the Hall of Law has already taken the necessary measures. The scene then shifts to Pico Kingun, where someone tells Suli that there is something for her. Master Bai presents a gift to Suli, which is an ice silkworm he captured. He explains that he wanted to get a broken mirror fabric for her, but found this little companion and brought it as a present. Suo was amazed while thinking that the ice silkworm was clearly a demon king with strength comparable to a cultivator in the recombination stage. She wondered why it was so obedient before the master. Master Bai, petting the silkworm, said that the ice silkworm had dual attributes of lightning and water, so it matched Suli, allowing it to accompany her in her cultivation. Blushing, Suli thought that in her past life, even as a free immortal, she had difficulty defeating demon kings, but Master Bai gave her something so valuable. She hugged the master and said, "Thank you very much, master." He responded, patting her head, saying that the test was coming so she should regain her strength as soon as possible. Suli smiled and replied, "Don't worry, master. I won't disappoint you." While stroking the silkworm, Master Bai told Su not to be nervous when the time for the exam came. It wouldn't be a problem for her. Additionally, she could take the silkworm with her. Suli, sweating, asked if that wouldn't be cheating. Master Bai wrapped the silkworm in a green aura and replied that it was fine. He could suppress the silkworm's realm to a level where Suli could take it. With a worried expression, Suli wondered if the silkworm would be happy with that. Bai wrapped himself in a yellow aura and said that he would suppress the realm now, but it might hurt a little. For the first time, he released his aura on the silkworm, which began to wrap itself in a cocoon. Suo was astonished to see that instead of being suppressed, the silkworm's cultivation was improving. The cocoon began to open slowly, and something came out from within. Suli was amazed to see a girl with black ears and golden details emerging from the cocoon. The girl introduced herself as Xiaom, a demon king, and asked to be called Xia Men. Suo was amazed and thought she was very cute, while Xia was confused. Suo praised her appearance and said she always thought demons were ugly and bad. This was the first time she saw such a cute demon. Xia Men asked if Suli had ever met other powerful demon kings in the sect, and Suli almost revealed her secret. She explained that she had seen demon kings in books once. Xia Men understood and said, "Oh, I see," while Suli looked at Master Bai with relief, thinking that he did not notice. Master Bai seemed to be analyzing something, making gestures in the air at a window only he could see. Master Bai turned to the two and said that he would leave them to get along. Xiamen responded enthusiastically, "Don't worry, big brother. Xiamen will do her best." Master Bai looked at Xia and said, "It's getting late, you should go to your room to rest." She responds with a smile. "Good night, brother." Washing Bai goes to take care of his horse while he thinks, it seems Yi's kick was right. The jade piece that X was guarding is the true objective of the Formless Frontier sect, but this jade can't even be analyzed by the system. So what's its use at this moment? The system's window appears to him and announces, "The host has unlocked a random mission. If your disciple transcends in 5 days and ranks at the top of the test, you will receive a 1-star martial arts gift, a 2-star martial arts gift, and a surprise gift. If the host refuses or fails the mission, your spiritual K will be reduced by 30%. Master Bai is surprised and questions the system. "How strange. You also give missions. I thought you were just a woodcutting counter." The system responds urgently. Counter Bai is intrigued and asks, "Is there something wrong?" The system insists the host must accept the mission quickly. Bai agrees, yes, I will accept." While the window disappears, Bai murmurs to himself, "But these rewards are quite useless. I'll give them to Leo, and with the help of the silkworm, she'll transcend quickly." He enters the house and goes to sleep. While he sleeps, a kind of spirit of a woman appears in his bed, surrounded by a ball of blue aura. The woman's spirit laments, "What a pity. I was so close. She touches Bai's face with her hand before disappearing, murmuring, I wanted to see you. 5 days pass, and someone is barbecuing. Many extras walk through the area, and one of them comments, someone is cooking something over there. It smells so good. Some drool with hunger while others get angry. Master Bai, wearing sunglasses, is stylishly seasoning the barbecue. Zhao points at him and exclaims, Boshin, what the hell are you doing? Bai responds casually, oh, Instructor Jean is also interested in the wild cooking game. A strange figure with wings, an eye in the center, and an exposed brain hovers above Bai's head while he chops wood. The figure asks a question in a language incomprehensible to humans. Dear sir, would you like to hear the words of our Lord Savior? Master Bai thinks to himself, I call it a game, but I'm not sure what this strange bird from Azure Peak is. Aaron furiously reprimands, this is the way to our academy's entrance exam. What do you think you're doing? Bai responds nonchalantly, I'm just cooking here. I'm not affecting you in any way. Jean gets even more furious and orders his recruits, all of you, get back in line properly. His veins bulge on his face as he says, inadmissible, and walks away furiously, continuing to talk. Someone like you doesn't deserve the title of instructor. Bai shrugs and responds, I know,